Welcome to the Closer Experience, our midweek experience at the Leadership Church. Closer is a place where believers can grow closer to God. At TLC, we believe that making a spiritual development enhances our relationship with God, and that is more than a Sunday experience. And our Closer community provides just that. And now, the Closer Experience.
Good evening, and welcome to the Closer Experience. I hope you're having a good week. I love Wednesdays. It means we're making it through. We're making it through, you guys. As you know, we are tackling the text of Philippians. We are celebrating mental health the month of May, just really focusing in on having a better mind. So this evening you have the striplings here to keep it going. We're going to keep going through Philippians. We have chapter 2. I am Melissa.
I'm Derek.
And we're ready just to dive on in. Just kind of recapping from what we saw last week, where Jeanette and Al kind of just let us know how to, remember that you're going to get through. Remember that God is with you. Remember that, you're going to have some things that you doubt. You're going to have some things where you're looking for purpose. But just always remembering that there is a word, there is prayer. God gives us a lot of examples. And I think, this letter in Philippians to the Philippians is really good teaching. We have verses 2 through 5,
yes,
9 through 11, and then 14 and 15. And more so just like when you think of your mind and you think of your mindset, these verses are kind of teaching you how to have a mind of what I think I saw was how to have a mind of Jesus Christ, right? How to have a mind of humility, and how to have a mind of servience. And so just looking at that, when Paul calls us to have the same attitude as Christ, he gave the ultimate example of humility. He was or is right there with God. Yes. And yet he came down and he decided to sacrifice his life,
be human.
Be human, and take on that challenge to die for us, and not only die for us, but die on a cross. So that was, a real decision, a real test of faith. He had that faith, and I think that's something that we have to look at.
And also being that he was a servant, most importantly, feeding people, healing people. I mean, we've seen this through all multiple stories, and in taking the fact that he's obedient to death, mm-hmm. and understanding that death is something that we all would succumb to, even as human beings. So from him to be able to set aside the ultimate, being equal to God and being able to set that aside to be one with us, so it's an ultimate sacrifice.
Okay, so when you think of humility, when you look at that, what does it mean to value others above yourself?
It means to allow them. It's a couple of things. One of which is being that the other person needs conversation, or whether it's that or just things in general that they would need in life, like even if it's chores or favors, it's just being there for that one person, and understanding that what you have and your goals and your interests, all of that gets put to the side to be able to understand and put attention and value into what that person is telling you, or what they speak of, or even what they would ask. I think humility, giving that up is something that I think is even important in conversation when you think about it. When you talk to someone and they want to tell you how their day is, or even listening to you, listening to how your day is, the last thing you want to hear is, oh yeah, about me, by the way, and trying to interject my feelings into that is something that you don't want to hear at that time. And I think that also plays hand in hand with serving, because you want to serve that person like, I'm a platform, I'm a confidant, I'm someone that you can actually talk to.
That's good.
And be able to share ideas with, and not be interrupted, or with your agenda. I don't want to hear your agenda right now.
That's good.
I want you to hear my day.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good. I think that is good. for those of you that don't know us, we like to say that we came to the leadership church through marriage, and marriage is our ministry. And something that Derek just said, I don't know if he was really stepping on my toes or his, but being able to show humility to someone who is going through something. They don't need you to always have the answer. They might just need you to listen, right? So you have to put yourself in that place of loving someone when they need that. Like you said, that's part of the servitude part, right? So like being able to just listen and not talk, being able to really hear them and not be waiting to respond. I think that's a great test of humility.
And it's a good quality as a friend.
Yeah.
Husband or anyone that you come into contact with, whether it's a coworker or someone else that you come into a close relationship from day to day. Sometimes they just want to have the floor. Let them have it.
Yeah. When I was looking at the word and the verses that we had, I looked up, like here humility in in the biblical sense, right? And so one of the things it says is being self-aware, understanding your weaknesses and limitations, but through God's grace, right? So you have to be humble sometimes with yourself. You have to show yourself humility sometimes. And I think that's kind of like going back to that space of mental health, going back to that space of protecting your mind space, because you shouldn't compare yourself to someone else. You shouldn't think that the one thing you're going through today is the one thing you're going to be going through at all times. Remember that God shows you grace every day. God shows you mercy every day. He's never going to forsake you, right? And he's giving you all the tools and all the ways to prepare you to go through. And that's one thing I love about it. You're going to go through. Sometimes you might be in it for a while, but you will go through, and he's there for you. I'm always grateful to have, people I can talk to that listen to me and love me and hug me and get me through. Something else that this thing was saying, is just being able to acknowledge God's power sometimes will humble you, right? Like you don't get to have it your way all the time. You don't get to say it's my plan, it's God's will, right? And being submissive to that is a good way to show humility.
Absolutely.
And we kind of talked about that submissive piece a little bit. But let's see, there are some other things we were talking about. How do you think, you show humility, like just day to day in the workplace, in your relationships, whether it's your friendships, your marriage, that sort of thing?
Patience plays a part at that.
That's a good one.
Yeah, because, sometimes, again, kind of allude to what I was saying earlier, about just conversations or interactions with people. Sometimes you have to be able to put your thoughts to the background and understand where that person's coming from and the concerns that they have. I had a conversation with a coworker the other day about procedures, policies, and being able to hear what they would have to say first and understanding where they're coming from and the issues that they have with that, or whatever the policy was that we spoke about. I think it was important to hear their concern because I had a rebuttal. I wanted to play devil's advocate. I wanted to show the other side of what I believe or what issues I had. But I felt like it's important for them to be able to relay that information because, again, I don't want to take that over or take that away from the person. In order for us to be a team, even though we're from two different departments, we still work together. And I think that it's important to be able to have that patience for them to explain and what they have and the things that they go through or their issues. I think that's really important when you talk about being submissive and understanding that you don't have to interject or, in cases like that.
Yeah, I think something people don't see in the forehand, but they always feel it later is like the endorphins you get when you show humility, right? So in this sense of what you're talking about, if someone comes to you and they have a gripe and you don't jump in, you don't, bash them, mm-hmm. You really just show that grace, you show that patience with them. Right. even if you're upset in the moment, right? If you can get past that and you see the situation calm itself, you see resolution come into the situation, a lot of times it makes you feel better. Like you didn't have to take the high road to get the result, right? A lot of times if you can humble yourself,
Right.
I think like even with us, like I'm learning through you that I don't always have to say something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if I'm thinking it, I don't always have to say something. And just that peace of mind of not having to, argue or even have tension in our situation is sometimes like, okay, thank you for that humble moment, right? And it is harder, right? We have a board in our house where we change scripture, and right now it says be different to get different. I think that's another thing to like remind yourself daily. Like if you're constantly coming at someone, you're constantly like thinking it's your way, you're not going to get a different result. But if you can humble yourself, try to be a little bit more servient, you might get some different results. People might feel you're more approachable. They might trust you with more things. They might give you more things, right? So I think like that was one of the things I looked at when we were studying this, because right before that it said humble yourself to others. And so
And that's the same thing with Paul and how he addressed the Philippians. In order for you to be Christ-like, you have to be that of God. And you just brought up an important feeling, which was just calm nature when you bring up humility. And that's the same feeling we get with prayer, reading the word, and just understanding that when you read the word, you have this sense of calmness.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost the same thing when you talk about humility and understanding that sometimes lashing out is not the resolution for situations. But yeah, I thought that was a pretty good point you brought up there.
Yeah, I think another thing that's like really like bringing it back to like having a great mental space, surround yourself with people that are Christ-like, right? If you call your girlfriend or you call your cousins or one of your friends out in the streets and you're like, let me tell you, it's time to your instant composure or your words or whatever might really go up, right? Where they don't need to go. If you call someone in your church, right, call your mentor, call your pastor, like Derek said, go to the word, sit in prayer for a moment, right? You will calm down. You will find a space of humbleness. You will always, especially in the word and in prayer, you're going to find a moment of reflection where it's not necessarily about you, but how you're going to get through this situation, how you're going to help someone out in that situation. Absolutely. And so I think like it's always important, especially when trying to protect your peace, to go to a place of God, go to a place of spirituality so that you can calm down.
Absolutely.
And see the other side of a situation.
It's a good one.
Thank you. I've been thinking about it. Reading this stuff, that's one thing I love about the Closer experience when we are asked to do it, even when we do it separately. Like sometimes I'll watch you do it and I'll be like, oh, look at my husband. And then every time I'm doing it, I feel like it like gets in me, right? Like, so not to say I want to volunteer to do it all the time, but I love these and we're getting to do one together, which doesn't always happen. So that's fun too. Before we close out though, I did want to, we talked about a little bit when we were preparing that we were going to pray ourselves out. But before we do pray ourselves out, where in your life do you need to practice humility? It could be a day-to-day thing. It could be like a goal you have for the year. It could be something, at work or personal. I know you deal with a lot of people.
It's really wide range on where I could be able to apply it, whether it's with you, whether it's with coworkers, or even with friends in general. I'm a shady guy. I hate to say it. I mean, but I need to reach out more to my friends. Yeah, I need to be more in tune with my friends and have conversations and listen to them more. I think that is one of the things that I have as a goal with the mind to reach out to those friends I haven't talked to in so long, and to just listen to them and find out where they've been, where their stripes. I would like to hear that, because being close to yourself, you only know yourself, right? And you know your day to day, but it's really hard to share with somebody when all you think about is what's around you. So to have conversations with friends and being able to open up and have them open up, rather, I think that's a way of serving, because you're serving their interests, you're serving what they want and their passion and some of the stress that they go through, because we all need it. I mean, we all need to have that outlet to where we could talk to somebody. And I would like to be that for my friends.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Okay. You do need to be a better friend.
I do need to be a better friend.
That was a good one.
Thank you.
When I was thinking about it, right now I'm kind of stepping into this new role with this promotion.
Right.
And
Congratulations.
Thank you. I wanted to definitely, I'm staying in the same company, so I want to feel revered, but I definitely want to stay humble. I definitely want to show humility. A lot of people are going through a lot in my company, and so my daily prayer is to be a light to someone. So I hope, as I do transition, that I remember the humility, remember what they need, remember that I'm here to support them first, right? So like in a role of leadership, I don't want them to think like, well, I'm the boss now and you do it my way. How do we make it better, right? So that's a big thing. Like even in the transition of it all, I've always felt like, how do I support someone else? Like we might not be doing it perfect, but we're going to do it together and I'm going to listen to you. Right. So that's kind of like my prayer right now, right? I'm always praying for us. I'm always praying for my tongue. Our year's little mantra or whatnot is, what is the intent? Making sure that we're not trying to tally what we're doing for the other, but also like really saying like, I appreciate you, right? And I do see you serving me more. I do. I told you the other day, but I really do, right? So, I sit back and I humble myself, and whether you do it perfect or not,
Perfect or not.
I mean, not perfect. We're talking about cooking, but not perfect. But whether you do it my way or not, which isn't perfect, I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Just trying to be that beacon of light.
I love it. I love it. But I just think like there are a lot of ways, that the word shows us. Philippians, like they said last week, it isn't a long book in the Bible, but it is mighty. I can't wait to see what Philippians 4 talks about, because that's one of my favorite books in the Bible, chapters. But I just am grateful that the Leadership Church is always teaching us. They're always pouring into us, right? They're always challenging our thoughts, challenging, how we work within our marriage, how we work outside of our marriage. So I'm always appreciative of that. Yeah. Were you about to say something?
No, but I was just thinking how Pastor Tony, is a beacon of light when it comes to that, and always looking to serve with such a good word that just goes down your street, like so he says. And it's something that we all treasure and something that we just can't take for granted. The message he gives is pure, and it's something that you can take home beyond that Sunday. It's something you can apply with through your day to day, and even for months on end. Very valuable, very fortunate to be a part of it.
Well, I'd like to also say, this came to us, of course, through our church, through Pastor Tony, but someone who pours into us, who is always like, making sure we're okay, Janae, right? And so I appreciate that. Like she said, let's put the striplings on this humility piece. Not that, she thinks anything's wrong with us, but I think if you are in a space where you're looking for a church home, if you are in a space where you want to be around people that really love you, they do really care about what's going into your mind. What are you seeing? What are you hearing? That's protecting that mind space. The Leadership Church is a great place. Follow us online, come visit in person, watch on Sundays.
We have another question.
Do we have another question?
Yes.
What was the other question? Oh,
How can serving others bring peace to your mind and heart?
well, we kind of touched on that.
We have.
Kind of touched on that, like just the endorphins that you feel.
Yeah.
Helping others out, how you have that goal.
Yeah.
To reach out to your friends, which I am going to remind you.
Yeah, I know you will. I know you will, God. All right.
I can't wait to remind you.
But serving, I mean, the kind of the peace that it brings, I mean, it's so fulfilling. Even, we've had, just being transparent, I haven't been the chef around here. As we all know, you are the chef of the house. You cook all these elaborate meals, and I do appreciate you for that. And for me to be able to take the helm and, like after this, I'm going to cook.
He's cooked like 4 or 5 times in 2 weeks, which is amazing.
But the thing is to be able to do something like that. It's not even like a tit for tat or trying to say, hey, I'm trying to do it. Just being able, before, I'm not going to lie, when you told me, hey, you go cook something, I don't care, you cook it, I was getting real ticked off. Like, oh man, I don't want to do this. I'm over here slamming pots and pans and stuff. Like, why am I in the kitchen? I don't even know what I'm doing. But now it's a different aspect of it, because it's like, I'm serving you. And this is what I'm here to do for you, babe.
Thanks, babe.
And doing, and being able to cook these meals and just preparing these meals, just gives me a sense of relief. It gives me a sense of peace to know that I am doing my part. And also being more kinder with the dishes and with the seasoning. And she always says that, a good meal is not a good meal unless you put love into it. And I didn't know what that meant until I actually got in there and started looking at it and thinking, okay, well, how can I make my wife happy? I know that she would like this. I know she would like that. And at the end of the day, it makes me feel really humbled and just pleased to know that I'm able to do that for you. So again, it puts me in a good spirit, and the way you talk about it makes me excited. So I guess those are rewards of being a good servant, in general, But yeah, just to be able to help people. I got a neighbor, I don't want to get too much into detail, but he needs a ride to the store every now and then, and I take him. Because I know those rides, those long walks down to the corner store are too much. But hey, to be able to say, hey, I can do that for you means a lot. Just little small acts, in other words. Again, those are things that we do just out of the kindness of our heart, and just be like, hey, it's almost like the golden rule to a certain extent.
And like you said, you feel better.
You feel
right?
better.
And then when something comes good to you, you feel that, right?
Right.
So like every time you feel something good coming to you, you should definitely pay it forward.
Absolutely.
I think and like you said, and I think Jeanette and Al talked about this last week, don't look for something good to happen to you. Just be good.
Just be good.
Right. Like if you're trying to post it on the internet, or you're taking tally of every time you do something for someone, that's in vain. That's not God's word, right? That's not of Christ. He wants you to just give from your heart, and you really will feel better. The more you do it, the more it's just common nature, the better your life will be, the less stress you'll have on your head, right? And I think like that's what's so important, like just to make this word a part of who you are. Absolutely. That way it's just what you do, right? All right. Well, I think we have met the assignment.
I think we have.
And it is time for you to go cook dinner. So let's join hands and pray.
Let's do it.
All right. You got it.
All right. Dear Lord, thank you. Thank you for all that you have given us, dear Lord. And most importantly, thank you for protecting us from the unseen. Dear Lord, thank you for this word today, dear Lord, as we talk about mental health, dear Lord, as we talk about the the idea of humbling ourselves, dear Lord. Thank you for allowing Jesus to put aside his powers, dear Lord, and become one with humans, dear Lord. Dear Lord, thank you for allowing him to be a perfect example for us, dear Lord, to live by and to witness, dear Lord. Dear Lord, I thank you for allowing us to be able to talk to you all today and explain or talk about the word that has been put before us in regards of humbleness, dear Lord. Today, mental stress is taking a toll on our youth, on our elder, on everyone, dear Lord. And to be able to understand that humility, dear Lord, and being a servant takes a lot of weight off of our shoulders, dear Lord. Even though it in the sense of serving could mean a lot, but it's such a reward, dear Lord, to be able to know that this will help us, dear Lord, in our long run with our relationships, whether it's with our wives, our coworkers, or friends, dear Lord. Dear Lord, I pray that you keep us in this mindset, dear Lord, not just for this month, but for the whole year and then beyond, dear Lord. In Jesus Christ, I pray. Amen.
Amen. Good night, everyone. Have a good week.